welcome to the ATX DAO podcast. We have brought video back to the pod, and today it's just me and Ash. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just trying to stay alive, trying to fight the gray hairs off from putting out all the fires today and running around like a madman. So usual Thursday, really.
That's right. That's part of startup life, yeah.
Yes, unfortunately so. Very much like just eating glass and looking into the fucking abyss. Yeah, it is very much like that.
Yep, I love it. So, but that's part of the excitement, right? So that's actually the topic of today's show. So we are doing a pod with just the two of us and talking a little bit about just what startup life is like. So if those that listen to the pod quite a bit, Ash is constantly telling me that I need to start up my own company. I have been in a role that is very different than that for pretty much my entire career. And so today I thought we'd just kind of talk about what is that experience. So I guess let's start off with what is your life like today, and then we'll get all the way back to how did you get into this space and that kind of thing. But tell me, like, what's the day to day? You're in a startup or several. I think you have a few of them going. What's life like?
Yeah, I mean, life is pretty. I mean, there's one constant, I think, like all founders, irrespective of where they are in the startup journey, it's that it's kind of chaotic, right? So the only way to like bring kind of some order to the chaos is like, firstly, embrace the idea that there is no order to the chaos, right?
Yeah.
Like, once you understand that, you're just like, okay, I'm just going for the ride, and I just have to try and do my best and tackle every single problem. So that's the first thing. But so I usually start off my day with kind of like a wake up of that. That's like my wake up of like cold water, like some people put the Perrier or the Fiji water in the fucking ice cold bowl, and then the banana peel shit. My stuff is usually like, just wake up and realize you're going to shit the bed today, but it's okay because you're stupid enough to come back and try again tomorrow. Right.
Nice.
And then followed by, basically, I try and like avoid looking at my phone like almost immediately in the morning. Like, usually I get up and then get out and then like try and listen to music and then try and do something active. It kind of like mentally prepares me to kind of like realize that the worst part of my day is kind of just coming,
Okay.
which is the workout, right? Which I'm trying to like get back in shape and shit. So that helps a lot. And usually, after that is when I get the slew of emails. So the slew of emails, Discord messages, Telegram messages, WhatsApp messages, all that shit, Twitter, all that stuff comes on.
Yep.
For individually for me, and then also for the startup. I'm also an advisor in a couple of other startups. So they're always pinging me, wanting to be like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And all that kind of stuff. So I usually tackle that after my workout. I try and get rid of the emails and the messages as the first thing I do. Right. Because then I just feel like there's nothing like the Damoclean kind of thing isn't like hanging over my neck where isn't something I'm not responding to someone or an investor or like someone on the team in a timely manner or something like that. Right.
Yeah.
Or someone that I've invested in and like they were waiting on feedback. Right. Because I know what that's like, too. Yeah. You're just like waiting for feedback and you're like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? So it starts from that. And then usually I just dig into I try and set up some of my days for the startup that I currently am spending most of my time on, which I don't want to, like chill or anything like that. We're going through like an interesting and exciting phase where we're going to be launching a new product. So try and get any calls associated to that done first thing in the morning, right? Luckily, most of our team is stateside. So it's great. It's plus or minus 1 or 2 hours that we can get everything. And I just try and front load that in my day. And then from there, it's just like usually those calls precipitate into something like, oh, we need to solve this. You need to review this. You need to take care of that. You need to get a call with someone for this. And that's when I start targeting those kinds of action items.
Nice.
And usually that ends up taking me pretty well into like noon. I usually start my days somewhere around like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And that's like, so I pick up the phone and start really looking at messages around like 6 a.m. or 6:30. So usually if I'm up by 5, like take care of the dog, do my business, like, say my morning mantra of not shitting the bed and accepting it, go get that workout in, and then, start the day at that time. And so by 11:30 or 12, like is kind of when I've like really tackled the bulk of my day. right?
Yes.
And then from that, then it goes to shifting towards like either carrying on the same stuff for the startup, or it's like literally focusing on the next thing, or it's
Yeah.
an exploratory period, or the advisory stuff kicks in. Usually I try and see if I can just allocate like 2-3 hours a week just for the advisory stuff, because like, you know, people want to come and talk about an idea and they
Yeah.
want to say, hey, what do you think about this idea? What do you think about this UX? What do you think about this demo? Can you give me feedback on this? Or like, hey, I'm raising. What do you think about this? Right. And those conversations can, if it can be sometimes succinct, sometimes they can't, and it's an open-ended conversation, right? Because like you're just trying to get feedback on these things, and I always tell them, I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing as an advisor at your fucking company. I don't know what value add I bring there, but like sometimes it's just being a good sounding board. Part of that is like just letting the conversation flow. And so sometimes I deal with that, and so usually I put that on Fridays, but usually my Mondays to Thursdays kind of work in this manner. I start up, try and get some me time, and then get that coffee and protein in me. And then after that, it's just like immediately calls and then dealing with shit with the startup itself. Um, some days are just like a complete clusterfuck, right? Like today I was behind the 8 ball, even though I woke up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
It's just something or another is always coming up. I'm running around town for meetings or getting in between calls. I'm exhausted coming here to do the pod. So it's kind of crazy, man. As long as like you understand that like you're just dumb enough to come back and do it again the next day,
Yeah.
like you'll be fine overall, right? It's that compounding effect of being stupid enough to come back and keep trying every fucking day.
Yeah.
And then eventually it'll just get right. And then you'll have a group of days that you string together that's like, oh, you shit, you've made significant progress. I really feel like I'm just not selling the startup life well to you right now.
So a couple of things that I kind of take away from that. So I think one of them is like you're on the go the whole time.
Yeah.
And you're very busy, like with a lot of multitasking, a lot of context switching for all the different things you do. But I think also that's what makes you a good startup founder. Because sometimes, and I'll use an example of a barber I used to have. So he was a barber at a barber shop where he was an employee, and then he started his own thing. And then when he started his own barber shop, he was never around. Like I could never consistently show up for a haircut and know that he was going to be there because he was enjoying entrepreneurship too much. And he's like, I'm my own boss. I can do what I want. Well, you still have responsibilities. You're not going to be your own boss for long if
Yeah.
you aren't on the go the whole time. So
Yeah.
sometimes these people will get this idea that, oh, I'll have all this freedom and all that. It's like, no, if you want to be successful, you got to work for it. And so I think that's what your routine's really showing.
Yeah. And also the other thing I would say is like, honestly, like, I think that like you should surround yourself. Firstly, like you should build that building block that like learn to accept eating shit all the time. Like, cause that's what this is, right?
Yeah.
That's what that role of a founder really is. If you work at a startup, like in any kind of capacity, if you're less than 5 people, you're wearing very different hats, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to have to do a bunch of shit, which is great. And so you're kind of getting that idea itself, but then ultimately the responsibility falls on you.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to take ownership of stuff like that. And then the other thing I would say is that like have a great group of like people to work with. Like honestly, like we kind of went through an underwriting, we went through a little shift at the startup, and it's like the team morale is great. Like we enjoy, like our team calls are fucking fantastic. We have 2 team calls in my primary thing, and it's amazing. I enjoy talking to it. Everyone enjoys it. And like surround yourself and build your team. Like go to work with people that you want to work with.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's great. And then like also trust that they can do their job. Like have them bounce back ideas with you, but then be like, yo, like you're running this thing. Let's run it. Like everything's a mini experiment. Right. And like that goes to the idea that like you just can't control everything.
Yeah.
Like you can't do everything at once. Like you just don't have the temporal capital or the neural capital to do everything. Even if you were fucking amazing at every single aspect of the startup, you just don't have the time.
Right.
So like you need to have great people that are there. And it's like, I think what I've seen is like a lot of founders try and do everything by themselves. And I'm like, bro, it doesn't work that way. You gotta like let go a little bit. Even my dad, like I saw that in my dad's startup, right? Like he tried to do everything himself. And for the longest portion, he wasn't able to scale the company he wanted because he was trying to do everything himself. Yeah. And I'm like, you gotta let go a little bit, right? And people are gonna make mistakes. That's just a natural part of like learning. And it's scary because it's like, hey, you're the responsible party.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to kind of like check in, right? Like, and see what's going on, but you got to let them grow and take on these tasks. So like, have great people around you, man. Like, cause that's like really good. What's going to make or break your startup. And you know, like you said, like you got to be on the go all the time. But having good, capable people and people that enjoy you and you enjoy them, like that's an absolute must. Like, if not, like, remember, Columbus didn't come and explore the New World by himself. He got a bunch of fucking crazy assholes before he left like Spain or Portugal to go find those fucking engines, right?
Right.
Like, the reality is you need a ship, you need a crew, right? So assemble that crew. That's a great part of doing this. Like, you're still going to do a lot of shit. That's the reality. But like, yeah, like having a group of crazies that you fuck with is like super critical and makes life a little bit more enjoyable, right? You can share your wins and your losses together, but ultimately remember, like, you're the responsible party. Like, you have to put in the work. Right. So it is literally that.
Yeah. And I think finding that balance is one of the keys there too, right? So I think sometimes people will get so stuck on, I have the vision, I have to oversee everything, and basically micromanaging their employees. And it does two things. One is it limits the potential of your company by your personal capacity.
Yeah.
And it also stifles any innovation. Like, because you're doing so much, you can't have that time for creative thought. And you're keeping all of your employees who would be motivated from doing anything but what they're told.
Yes.
So I think giving that flexibility, like having the appropriate amount of check-ins and things like that to make sure, like, are they on track, that kind of thing, but letting them have the freedom to do what they think is right for the company with, you know, those right check-ins.
Yeah. Generally, like, that micromanagement is the key thing that you want to avoid, right? Like, because like you said, it stifles innovation. And like, if you're building a startup in like a place like crypto, it's like it's not like Web2 startups where you theoretically have a bigger bankroll and like more time to iterate and all that shit. Like, no, crypto works at a different cycle altogether. It's like you're going from like 1G to like 10 Gs, you know, like it's going way fucking faster. So like, you gotta let the people like kind of iterate and fill in those liminal spaces, right? Like, because like you said, like, we can all look at the same problem. We all look at it through different angles, but like, I'm not suited to look at that angle. Like, I can be good at a bunch of things, but I'm never great at this one thing. And I'm like, yo, find someone who's really great at that and just let them fucking run, bro. Like, that's the thing, right? And I could be wrong. Like, that's the whole fucking thing. Like, this is the startup thing, right? Like, I have not built a unicorn startup or a decacorn startup. Right. So like, I hopefully think that I'm on that path. Right. But like, this is what I've found successful teams have done. And this is what I think is working for us.
Yeah.
And this is what I think works for this space and this industry, right? Like, even this is kind of applicable in like Web2 startups where they let people kind of like have the onus in the space to take the responsibility and come up with creative shit.
Yeah.
Right. And just let them go, man. And then if it's too far away, be like, hey guys, that's when you have to kind of maybe be the adult in the room. Be like, we need to ground this temporally to be like, we need to hit this deadline by this point, and then help them facilitate like check-ins, like you said.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. But like, really, I just think like it's fucking fun, man. Like, you know, like I have no filter between my brain and my mouth. And that's gotten me in trouble in the past with like other places that I've worked at where I've just told them like, this doesn't fucking work, bro. And this is a dumb idea. And I'm like, I'm not a PC person. But I say that from the best of my heart, or like from the well-wishing of my heart, right? Because I'm like, yo, like we're all on the same mission together. Like, we want to build something successful. So like, why am I going to sugarcoat it like this way? I'm just going to tell you if this sucks or doesn't suck. I'm giving you my honest feedback. And in some places, if you're just if you're like an employee and not like part of the real team or whatever, or the founder, it's a completely different modality. Like, you got to have a culture that's kind of set up in that company. And most companies are not really set up that way. At least in crypto, it kind of offers this culture like a little bit better.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised how many fucking startups I've seen where it's like that, like, or that I've worked at in the past where it's like that. And you're just always like tiptoeing around shit, you know, like we don't have a fucking HR department in our thing.
Right.
If there was, like, he or she would immediately get hired and then they would quit the next day. Cause like it would be a litany of fucking complaints about the way we all talk to each other. Cause we're all like 12-year-olds, right? So I built our crew is a group of like 12-year-old crazy motherfuckers who like want to do crazy shit. And we're all aligned to that mission.
Yeah.
And that's the culture we've created. And yeah, I mean, like I love my crazies. Like they're fucking great.
Yeah. And I think you're probably able to give that kind of feedback because they know that you care about them. They know that you love them.
Yeah.
And that anytime you give them constructive feedback, it's well intentioned and you've kind of established your personality and they know that like, if you do, drop an F-bomb or something while you're giving some feedback, then it's just how you talk.
Oh yeah. We have literally no amount. I don't think there's an insult we haven't thrown at each other yet.
Nice.
Across gender, religion, weight, skin tone, nothing. Which is hilarious because we are kind of like a UN of retards, right? We have a pretty good mixed crowd of people across there.
Nice.
And that goes to the point of also like having people be creative, right? You need kind of that diversity, but unified in that mission, right?
Yeah.
You have a diversity of skill sets, you have a diversity of demos, but like we're not fucking holding back any punches. And yeah, like, people from the team listen to the pod and they know like who I am here is kind of like who I am in that startup.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, right? And yeah, it's cool, man. But I really think that everyone should do it. Everyone should go experience it, which is why I'm trying to like pull you into doing it. But I just keep doing a fucking terrible job of selling it to you.
No, I think you're sold. It's just one is coming up with the right idea that makes sense to start a company behind, right? So like having a product idea doesn't necessarily mean you have a company idea. And so I think that's one of the big ones. There's also, other hurdles and things like that. But let's maybe go to that. So your first startup. So you were in TradFi at one point.
Yeah.
And at some point you made the transition from working in a large company to having your own, like thinking in terms of maybe somebody that's watching the show or, considering it themselves. What was that decision like for you?
I hated my job. I went from making a bunch of money to making very little money because I left TradFi to go pursue my first love, which was architecture and design. Funnily, that's where you learn patience, right? Because it's kind of like a product cycle. It's like there's constant iteration, but the worst fucking part is like you're not getting it out. It's kind of like you're turtle heading the shit. It's just like, I just want to get this fucking thing out so I can go on and do the next thing, but it's just sitting there, right? And this is often incurred in architecture and design by like the client not fucking wanting to make the decision, or they just come up with new ideas and then you're constantly fucking dealing with shit. And a friend of mine was like, bro, just take this approach. And I didn't realize it at the time, but like it really gave me the patience and helped me think about product in a really good way. Like from a design perspective, what people want, how do they look and perceive things? How do they experience things? Right. Like, and that's what kind of put me into this. When you think about like what kind of products, what to build and all that stuff, that's kind of like just looking at the world and seeing everything that's right and wrong with it constantly. I know it sounds kind of like judgmental, but it's like not judgmental. I mean, like I have this thesis and I've shared it in the past that like real startups are built in the liminal space, the space between point A and point B, right? And you see that like, it's not like a widget that connects these two things, but it's just like, oh, I see this is there and I see this is there. Why isn't this there? Right. And that could be an idea and that you can build a company around. And then going towards that mission towards doing that. I didn't come into the space immediately being a founder. Like I came into like crypto by just doing various different roles. And every single role that I've taken before going on that, like ultimately pulling the trigger to go be a co-founder and then being a founder is like, just like trying to harness different things, right? Like, thinking about the research side of things, thinking about the quantitative side of things, then going after that, going to the growth style things, thinking about product and strategy, now going to the founder role, right? It's just like learning different things so that you feel like you have a good toolkit to like come into that founder role, right? Some people have more of it, some people have less of it. Like the universe or God or whatever you believe in gave us, I think they or he or she built us all pretty equal. But the environment that we're in shapes and strengthens or weakens certain skill sets. So it's like, if you want to take on that role based on like that product idea and build a company around it, you might be great at certain things, but you have to get good at the other things as well. And then find great people that want to complement those things and then give them onus.
Yep.
So that's been my experience in the space. And luckily it's a great space to build. I think it's like crypto in general as an industry and Web3 is a fantastic place for you to like become really good really fast, see what works what doesn't work really fast.
Yep.
And embracing of the crazy, right? Embracing of the outliers. So yeah, man, I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, no, I think it does. So thinking in terms of, okay, let's say we're sold. Let's say I'm sold and I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to have a startup. Where do I learn all this shit? Like, so I've worked in a large company my whole life.
Yeah.
And so I got it. Like, I took accounting in college. I did all the things that some other department, where I work does.
Yeah.
Okay, where am I gonna learn all this shit? And YouTube's a great source. That's where I learn most everything that I know how to do. That's where I learned how to make a podcast. That's where I learned all kinds of stuff. But where am I going to learn all this stuff? How am I going to know how to effectively run my startup?
I did a Twitter article like very recently. I'm not plugging it or whatever. And it was inspired by like Hunter S. Thompson's like life advice that he gave to his friend. Right. And he's like, there's no such thing as the right path. There's no such thing as the wrong path. It's kind of like, it's just my path. Right. So I can speak to my experience was that like, basically, academically going into the TradFi world and everything like that, and then going on to architecture gave me certain skill sets and certain things that I'm good at. Right. And then the rest, I just thought like by going to work at startups that kind of like call and speak to me, and then learning from the people who have a skill set or are performing a certain function that I'm not good at. Like I was never really good at product, right? I was never even good at creative shit, like really, or strategy or go to market and all this stuff. I'm terrible at marketing. I honestly cannot figure that shit out in crypto for my life of me, right? So thank God we have someone else for that, right? But usually my thing is like I'd come in and then I'd ask like 10,000 different questions. Like those of you who know me really well, like I'll ask 1,000 questions. Or if you listen to the podcast, I'll ask like the first podcast would still be fucking running and that guest would still be here. Like Eric Voorhees would have never left. Right. He would have just been like, just please kill me now. Right. But like asking questions and being curious is very good. So like I just took a role at some place where I was like, okay, I can do this. It gives me the opportunity to like work next to people where I can ask these questions and they encourage that environment for me. And then I learned that next skill set, right? And then I go work in another startup where I can go do that as well. The other thing is like, just like learn by doing. Like, so funnily, Vardo, who's the CTO at Maestro, just before this, I was asking him about a programming language. And I was like, how the fuck do I learn this language? Where do I get to the researcher for this? And he was like, dude, you just kind of go on YouTube, look at the tutorials there, and then kind of build something, right? A lot of that is another way I would approach this. And it's a good way for you to build proof of concepts for startups now with the ML and AI world that we live in, right? Like you can vibe code and do that shit really quickly. Yep. You couldn't have done that shit like 10 years ago when I started, right? So that's another good way I would think about learning too. But, and also just, so it's really just learn by doing, man. Yeah. Like there is no magic sauce. Like you're never going to be born out of the womb, like ready to be fucking Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or Ken Griffin. Like that's just the reality. Yeah. You're just going to have to pick up skill sets along the way. And if you don't have the temporal capital and you just don't have the neural capital to be good at that particular skill set, it's okay. It's fine. You're not supposed to be perfect, right? Find someone who's really good at that and let them run with it while you focus on the other things that you're good at. And that's it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So I know you took part in some startup labs before. I know we had one of the ones that you were in, a Bitcoin startup lab. We had Albert on the show, one of our early guests. Where does that fall into this whole experience? So let's say that you're totally green. Let's say you do customer service at Coinbase.
Yeah.
So you're in crypto, but you haven't built anything yet. Do you recommend, and I'm not saying endorse or don't endorse Bitcoin startup lab. It's just an example of one you did, but is something like that good for someone that's completely green, or should they have had some kind of experience or gotten the makings of a company before they did something like that?
No, like, so I know successful startups and founders that like left Coinbase and then started up their own stuff. Like Obel, for example, we interviewed the CEO at Obel, right? The founders are ex Coinbase guys, right? Like they had some experience in things, but they kind of like never had the experience of building like a sizable, like impactful thing like Obel before. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I am wrong, guys. But like they just kind of did it, right? And there's other routes too, right? Like the Bitcoin Startup Lab you mentioned, right? Like going through a program like that, like I find it really beneficial because like not only does it expand my network a great deal and then help me cut the learning curve in terms of Bitcoin and UTXO kind of stuff like Doge and all that. But I also found like the chance to like talk to other founders, understand their experience. And that's when I really understood. I'm like, we're all going through the same kind of shit.
Yeah.
Right. And the ones that survive are the ones that can be creative enough, are scrappy enough, and are dumb enough to keep showing up every single day. Right. And it's not just the Bitcoin Startup Lab. Like in crypto, there's a bunch of different great accelerators and incubators. Chow and Imran from Outline Style, serious, solid accelerator. Great people, great programs, great startups have come out of there. I know Bardo and their team at Maestro are working with Draper. They have Draper U, which is another one that's doing like a chance for people to come in. They get, startup investing and then also advice and then help them go through the program. That's great. There's also Orange DAO, which is another great one too. It's also very crypto native. And I also know people from YC, like YC is another great one, right? Like, so I think going through these programs doesn't really guarantee that you have a successful startup, of course, right? Like that's the reality. But like, are you better equipped to deal with how to think about an idea, validate that idea, like create a proof of concept pretty quickly, demo that proof of concept, pitch that concept. Those things are really good through these programs.
Yeah.
And those are all key things that you're going to have to go through at some point or another, whether, even if you have a brilliant idea or a shitty idea, right? Those things, if you don't have those skill sets and understand that processes and those frameworks, I think that these programs are great. But, you don't necessarily need them. Like you could just have a great idea. You could just put a pitch deck and like, you could just be used to these things. But I just don't think that many people have those calluses built up on them. And I think these programs offer those calluses because like these guys are not going to like these guys and girls. Like when I say guys, by the way, it's like, I'm just saying everyone, right? It's not just gender specific bros. But that being said, like most of them are not used to getting punched in the face all the time and showing up every fucking day with a smile, right? These programs kind of like they put you through the ringer through that. And each of these programs and the people that run it, like they're pretty fucking smart. And they have a great team of people that are encouraging you to do this, right? They are going to pick you up at the end of the day and be like, come on, get back into the fight and do this. If you're not used to having those calluses and having that attitude, it's going to be a lot harder. I would definitely recommend that path, right? Like, I know AVAX also has something as well that does that.
Code base.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I would say also hackathons, right? Yeah. Kudos to you. You did a hackathon recently.
Thank you.
Killed it, right? And that's another good way to like find other people to work with, see what works, what doesn't work, what's a sprint like, what isn't a sprint like. People who haven't done that don't understand like that aspect. I think learning all those things and doing those things is good for you, right? And it increases the probability of success in you finding a good idea, building a team, validating that concept, building a team, go raising capital, building a bigger team, getting that product out.
Yep.
But that's to say, like, this has been my thought process of it. But you could have a great fucking idea and build a deck and then just go raise money and get it out there. And it could be a unicorn, right? It could happen. Just the probabilities are lower in that possibility vector.
Yeah. So that's actually going to take us to a future episode where I really want to dig into the VC. I know we just had Mike on for talking about VCs, but really kind of getting a sense of what that looks like. We won't go into it today,
sure.
But I think we have a whole other episode just on what is the fundraising process like? What do you need to know? What do you need to have available in terms of projections, all that kind of stuff. So we'll do that in another one. But this has been awesome, man. I really kind of appreciate you sharing your thoughts around what that life is like. If you were to kind of just summarize kind of any advice you'd have for someone that maybe you touched them, you got them in like today's show, they really want to get started up. What would you tell
them? I'd say just get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Like, and be stupid enough, like who dares wins, right? Like it's really that. So in order for you to just do that, like you just have to show up every single day and forget the fact that yesterday you got burnt and then go try it again. Just be stupid enough to go take a chance and go keep taking chances. You're not going to get it right the first time. I sure as hell haven't. I don't know if I'll get it right this time, right? That's kind of like the excitement of it, right? Like I'm just trying to figure it all out, right? It's like there's no roadmap really to a successful startup, just like there's no roadmap to a successful life, right? So I just think like, honestly, just wake up in the morning or wake up in the afternoon, and just be like, okay, today I'm going to try and figure out how to do this, or like try and figure out what's a meaningful idea for me to spend my time, my neural and temporal capital on. And then from there, be like, okay, I did this and I failed at it yesterday. Let me spend a little bit more time in seeing if I can make it a success.
Yep.
And that's all it is, man. It's just like, you just got to get more turns at bat. You just got to do that. You just got to be stupid enough to go fucking up to the plate and just take swings. That's it. Just be dumb and fail forward, right?
Yeah.
Hope for the best, really. I know it's not super motivational that way, but it's fucking honest. That's what all these people are doing, right? Like, we don't know if they're going to be billion-dollar startups. We don't know if they're going to be million-dollar startups. But I guarantee you it's going to be, the richest place in the world is the graveyard because it's filled with fucking dreams that have never been accomplished. Like, you don't want to be one of those people, right? So go try something. And really, it's just that. Like I said, like, I don't know if it's like good fucking advice or bad fucking advice, but like, it's advice.
I mean, it's advice that's worked for you. So I think that's a starting point, at least.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, man. Like, and I guess like the other thing I would say is like, talk to other founders, right? Talk to other founders, talk to other people who work in jobs, and then look at their faces when they show up to work every single day.
Yep.
Like, that should be your biggest motivator, right? You're like, fuck, that could be me in like 20 years.
Yep.
All right. That's pretty fucking scary. And if that money and that moolah is like straight fucking like, like crack, it's that good. And I guess like you can go do that. But if not, I'd just say go dare to conquer something yourself,
Yep. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, this is a great chat. Really appreciate you spending the time. And if viewers, if you are interested in anything else that we talked about here and you want us to talk about other things in a future show, definitely drop it in the comments. We'd love to dig into that. Like we mentioned, we are going to talk about the VC world, fundraising, all those types of things. But if there's other things related to what we talked about today you want us to cover, feel free to drop it in the chat, and we'll either cover it on a show or chat with you there. But appreciate being on.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And yeah, always open to feedback.
Awesome.